Well, it's good to have you guys in person. I know the last time you guys were virtually, but I don't blame you wanting to stay in Cabo. Anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes as to why we're here. Basically, it's centering around Mylar balloons. And really, I mean, for anglers, and Jake, you can probably speak to this more so than anyone, to where Mylar balloons, we come across them all the time as anglers out offshore, inshore, what have you. Come across them all the time, and they've been a huge problem over many decades.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we got started with several years ago, and it's interesting. There isn't a skipper or a fisherman that I've talked to that hasn't had an experience with a Mylar balloon. I mean, it's that big a problem. So what we're going to do now is, try to show our strength in numbers, all the small boaters out there, people on charters, people on sport boats, people on private yachts. It's quite a flotilla. We can get out there and show our strength, not just the fact that we spend money with the state to regulate our sport, but also our backs and our arms, and collecting these balloons and getting some data on the water. I mean, think of it. There isn't a machine that can do that. So that's kind of what we're here for. That's what we're looking to do, and enlist everybody to find the balloons and then make a report, fill out a little survey. We have at RV Pilar. We have a QR code, and we try to make it easy. And this will be ammo for us as we go further in this fight. To look at that data and really see how many balloons we have out there in the water. Nobody really knows.
Yeah. I mean, from personal experience, from all of us, to where we've probably in our lifetimes we've collected almost hundreds and hundreds of balloons offshore and all that. But really, to put a data figure, it's never been done before, which is this is really good news.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. The Star Tournament is a unique opportunity, to do that, because it goes for several months. It's a set period of time. We're asking for everybody, anybody, not just people in that Star Tournament, but again, if you have an inflatable, a SUP, a tin boat, a Parker, a Viking, go right up the line,
Kayak.
a kayak, whale watcher, anybody that's out there to try to collect data on these balloons, picking them up, noting where we got them, looking at the condition they're in. We still don't know how long it takes for them to break down. Nobody has a number on that. So all this data, that's kind of how the world works now. We need it. It'll go to bat for us later as we try to bring this ban in on these balloons.
Yeah, and we'll get into the Star Tournament tie-in here in a little bit. But Mark, there is a lighter than air ban, whole campaign, and tell us a little bit about what that entails and what that mission is.
So I volunteer with Surfrider. I've been doing it for about 7 years. And a few years ago, I was picking up balloons, and I have a jar now of over 200 that just I've picked up myself. That's mostly at Moonlight Beach, from Swami's to Beacons, if you know that area. So it started getting on the radar screen for Surfrider and the Rise Above Plastic committee that I help lead, because Mylar is a form of plastic. And so we were lucky enough to have a surfer come out of the water, because we have a bandwidth. We can only attack so many things at once. And Tina Overland, a surfer out of D Street, was like, I'm tired of this, contacted us, and with her passion and some other people, Encinitas was the first city to ban the use and sale of lighter than air balloons, because not only Mylar, but the latex too is a problem out there on the ocean and inland. So that started the journey for us. It's amazing. We've been working in the same space with the Pilar. The next city was Solana Beach, passed a similar ordinance. It takes time. It took about a year. Coronado, Del Mar passed the next one, and Coronado has been the most recent city this year to pass a. They did a little different. It's just the sell of them and not the use of them, because if we're all successful here sitting around this table, they won't be used. You won't be able to buy them anywhere. So, and that's basically what we're doing. Imperial Beach, we've engaged them one time, and with this influx of additional partners, CCA and the RV Pilar that we're hoping to get that city council to agree that their sales is shouldn't be done.
Yeah, and there's an upcoming meeting coming up on the 16th, if I'm not mistaken, too.
That is our target date to go down and speak with council.
Yeah, awesome. How many people are we all going to be there, I think?
Yes.
Maybe?
And
Possibly?
a few more.
Yeah, excellent. And I know we're engaging our local San Diego chapter as well to participate in this one, and specifically in San Diego. Tony, I know you're working on that with Mr. Chavez down there, but ultimately the right thing to do.
Yeah, and going back to what we were saying just a little bit ago about data collection, you know, Chris and I, we say this all the time, and we're just so fed up with the department saying best available science. And this is one of those situations where, okay, you don't have the funding, you don't have the people, fine. Then we have the masses, we have the people that are willing to put in the work to get the data to show you. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a really cool initiative to get on the ground running.
Yeah. And speaking of data, I know there are ways for anglers to really insert their data that basically they've collected themselves on the Pilar site, right?
Yeah, no. So essentially anybody and everybody can easily and quickly go to our website, list where they found it, list what condition it was in. Was it inflated? Was it deflated? Was it, tangled in any marine life? There's really almost no information out there about how many balloons are floating around in the ocean. So our data collection is going to be massive, just to have an understanding for what, how many are out there and what we're seeing, and really just showcase, the issue on the water. Because I think, we've talked with Mark about it before too, but there is data on land and beach cleanups to a degree, but really nothing on the water. And anglers are seeing it all the time. I remember going out on the boat with Jake, and we found 5 in a couple hours, like just
a couple hours.
Yeah, we saw even more, but we were like, we were attempting to catch a swordfish, so we had to get to where we were going.
When duty calls.
Yeah, exactly. But no, we stopped and picked up everyone we could that was on our path, and to get the fishing community involved in this is huge. Because we again don't really know, and researchers I've been digging, trying to find some information on what's the length of a Mylar balloon, how long do they actually last, and there's no definitive information.
So there's not really that much data on Mylar balloons at all out there that hasn't been done yet.
Exactly. Yeah. No. So this is totally unique and new, and a new effort, because one boat out there could only find so much, and we don't have too much information on it. But with the data too, if we can get most of California involved too, we could potentially get an idea of where they're floating to and where they're collecting, and
the majority of where they're going.
Exactly. And maybe put more efforts into those specific areas to pick them up if we're seeing more in LA, or if we're seeing more down by Imperial Beach, or we don't know. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of cool.
Jake, do you see very many down south of the border in Cabo? Is it the same problem?
Good question. No.
It
might be more of the fact that it's trying to hit the head of a pin, being at the end of the peninsula like that. We've seen a few. We get them, but odds are they might drift by and go into the Sea of Cortez, go across to Mazatlan, as they move from west to east. But we do find them, but not in the numbers they're here. And you know what? People just, even though they have celebrations down there and quincenas and all these different things, you don't see a lot of Mylar balloons down. There's not a lot of helium down there, and that might be the reason.
Interesting.
But because they do party and they do have balloons and all their fiestas and stuff like that.
It could be an expense too.
They don't release them. You don't see them flying through the air. They don't have the problems. You don't see them in the desert. That's kind of the one thing we've found over time is we've been collecting data by the searches we do as we try to learn more about the issue, the problem. But never in a central location, this data. It's from Los Angeles Times, it's from other sources, Surfrider, They have quite a bit of data from their beach cleanups. But that's kind of different. It's kind of the same thing, kind of different. We want to know those numbers. We want to include those numbers. Just because they drifted on shore, it doesn't really change anything. But the on the water stuff, nobody's done that. Nobody's got that. So
Can I tie into that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we do have beach cleanups all up and down the coast of California, but here specifically in San Diego County. We've collected about 1,450 balloons last year, and then our target, Imperial Beach, 265, and beach cleanups down just in there.
Wait, one more time. 1,000.
450 balloons, and these are just monthly cleanups. Once a month in different areas: PB, Ocean Beach, Encinitas, Oceanside. So how many people are picking them up because they see them and just throw them in the trash without reporting them? And that's why I think this tracker, we're going to pump it out on our channels too, for people who are hiking, walking, mountains, deserts, beaches, on your own walk, where you're not reporting them to Surfrider with the data that I just shared. So we will hopefully pick up not only ocean-based but more land-based, because that's what's driven the council so far, is just what we can articulate we're picking up in their city or out of this county, knowing that the problem is huge out there on the water. Mylar balloon lasts for about 3 weeks. And so in a little you accidentally release it, 6 mile an hour wind, I think the study I saw was about 800 and something miles that it can travel before it wants to finally return to Earth. That's a mass release in Denver could make it off our coast. So it's not just coastal cities. That's where we're going, because the coastal data helped us impact it. But as we move inland to other inland cities, all this data will be important, because their balloons do hit in the ocean or mountains or deserts.
So people based on land or just walking around town or whatnot, they're going to have an opportunity to contribute to this data as well.
Right now they're contributing by picking them up and throwing them in the trash.
Right.
But now they can help with the data.
They can report.
Yes. I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's many different avenues to participate in this effort, which is a great thing, whether you're on the beach, whether you're on land, whether it's on the ocean doing what we do. It's really good news. Really good news for the environment and really good news for us.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, once we started doing this and we started hearing from people all the way across the country, saying we've got the same problem here, in places you wouldn't imagine, but just even here in California, people in the High Sierra are finding them. So that's important to us. And, Mark mentioned the ranger stations. We're going to try to get that QR code out in some kind of laminated form there, so that when people go day hiking or whatever, they can help. All of it's a good collection. All of it counts. All of it is the reason why. It's not just one balloon here, one balloon there. It's the range that they can travel. If they get into the jet stream, they can go really fast. They can make it across the Pacific Ocean from Asia to Central California. Again, we're not really sure where the majority of them land, but a lot of them do cross the ocean. We've had farmers in Kansas pick up graduation balloons from California, and because of the date of the graduation, and somebody signed one, put their name on it, the guy contacted them. They could calculate that it took like no time at all. It was a couple of days. It was 2/3 of the way across the country, from the day it was released. So when you start looking at the scope, of the problem of these balloons, it goes a long way. It can go inland and affect wildlife inland. Just the same way it does on the ocean.
Well, there's, you brought up a good point, and I want to build on it to where it affects not only just the beachgoers, the beachcombers, the fishermen, the anglers, and all that, but there's a whole bunch of industries that Mylar balloons can wreak havoc on. One being the power industry. I'm sure planes are probably in there as well, but there's a whole bunch of industries that are affected by Mylar balloons, and we just don't really hear about it on a daily basis.
True. San Diego Gas and Electric has a study, and over a 5-year period, they had about 500 hits of Mylar balloons that conduct electricity into the power lines, blowing out transformers, taking out traffic lights, taking out your neighborhood, possibly a hospital.
Fires.
So that's the other thing. They do have documentation of some of our inland or back east or fires have been caused by balloon strikes on power lines.
Wow. Wow, unbelievable. I mean, that point is well taken, just a couple months ago with everything happening in LA and all that. but it's fascinating stuff. Fascinating stuff. You wouldn't think just a simple little balloon from a graduation party could wreak so much havoc across our environment.
No,
There's videos of them just sparking like crazy on power lines. It's
Really?
something to see. Oh yeah.
it's interesting. It's actually kind of an interesting topic. It's something so benign, something so small and inexpensive, could cause so much, havoc. And again, when we started looking at data and searching, you can go to the Los Angeles Times and look at these newspaper articles about how many man hours were lost in industry up there when these balloons arc the power lines and put power out. They have it down to the dollars and cents, how much money was lost, how much labor was lost, and it's millions of dollars. It's not a small amount. It's happened so many times up there. That loss of time is money. So it's just interesting how many places it does go and what the effects are.
Wow. Well, I know anglers are definitely going to get involved with this movement, as the beachgoers, as are just general the fishing community as well. But ultimately, there's an opportunity for just general people who have come across Mylar balloons through the survey on your website, right?
Yep. Yeah. So essentially, it's similar to the Get It Done app that San Diego has, where it's really easy. You can upload a picture. You can put as much information as you have, or really trying to just simplify the user experience to do this quickly and not feel like it's this whole labor intensive thing. But even we have an aspect on it where if you're in the middle of the water, you can put the longitude and latitude, and we can know exactly where you found that balloon on the water. But everybody can get involved, and it's a place that people can kind of participate and have their voice heard in that small sense. But every balloon makes a big difference that we know and learn more about. And then when we go to the town council or the city council and IB and hopefully San Diego sooner than later, we can show them this data and mention the anglers of San Diego and Southern California were a big part of this involvement, and that's where the Star Tournament's going to be massive in that sense. But it's nobody else is doing that on the water, so we can really be the hub of that space. And really, we're just trying to get the word out and try to get as many people as possible to do it. My girlfriend was walking on the beach one day and found one, took a picture and sent it, and it was our first upload that we did to the data thing. Just kind of.
I wonder who did that.
But it's it'll help a lot, and it's nice to get the full community involved in something that seems benign, but it's a major problem. And the more and more I talk to people about it, they jump on board with it, because initially the conversation goes as being like, oh, they're just balloons, like what's the big deal, like as long as people aren't releasing them, it's not that big of a deal. But you're like, well, accidental releases, and then the birthdays and the newborns that are coming, everybody's using balloons in one way or another, and if you accidentally release it, it doesn't make it any better. It's still floating around there for years. And with Mylars too, it's like we don't know how long they exist for. Like it's such a crazy thing. I was looking, doing lots of research on the topic, and there's not even really any controlled studies, so it's even crazier. But more or less, the material it's made out of, they know what it is and how long it's durable, and it's basically built to last through the environment and nature.
Wow.
And so they have no idea.
Being a plastic, when it gets into the environment, probably takes about 100 years. And what happens then, it doesn't just go away. It just becomes smaller and smaller. And you've heard of microplastics and nanoplastics, and just becomes smaller and smaller, coat in the ocean floor. But it takes quite a long time. I've heard 100 years for a lot of plastics to break down, but they're still plastic. Yeah. It's not becoming something inert.
And with the micro aspect of it too,
with chemicals.
You have this PET plastic that, is stronger, more, sustainable, or more, it just holds its form longer than like a latex balloon. So then you would assume that microplastic takes longer. So essentially it'd be more and larger amounts of microplastic. So.
And like in the last year, plastics, in your body has become a big topic, right?
Yep.
It started with, there's, plastic in mother's milk. Oh, and everybody went, oh God, and here just a couple months ago, there's plastic, in parts of your body. There's enough plastic in your brain, I heard, that to make a plastic fork.
Yeah, they're
So
saying a teaspoon now.
yeah,
Teaspoon.
I mean, it's just getting worse. And they're saying it's going to lead to more cancer. That's the bottom line. There's other things it can lead to, dementia, other different things. But the cancerous aspects, they say that's going to be the one that is the big one, because the plastic's in your organs and affects the way your physiology is. So. That's kind of news again. That the fires we had a couple months ago. It's just there's a lot of things that kind of make a bell go off to us and think this is really a good time to push this and see if we can make some progress on it.
The other thing for Surfrider is the marine life. We have sea turtles and sea lions, and for mola, the big sunfish. When a Mylar balloon gets out there and starts to have its reflectiveness come off and it's bobbing in the water, it looks just like a jellyfish.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm wearing my jellyfish shirt. You guys can see it out there. But and those creatures eat them. And so it's harming our marine life, our precious sea turtles especially. That's one that I'm fond of thinking I'm protecting by doing this work. And they don't learn. So we're lucky enough that sometimes they're recovered, they're spotted on the land or bobbing in the ocean, but how many go unnoticed and just become deceased with their insides plugged up to where they can't eat with a Mylar balloon in there? We're very fortunate to have SeaWorld Rescue, who's been on the news before about balloon ingestion harming our marine life, and they do a great job of bringing them in and rehabilitating them with an endoscope. I've been on a behind-the-scenes tour where they reach right in and pull plastics out of these creatures, including balloons.
Sure.
And they have a very good record of rehabilitation, putting them back out, but not all of them survive. So for Surfrider, we just want our marine life to be safe. It's such a senseless toy that's accidentally or purposely released into the atmosphere that's causing all sorts of harm to the things we hold dear.
And the amount of birds, too, I'm sure.
Birds, too. There's a scientist out of UCSD. She's been taking deceased birds and opening them up, and plastics and balloon parts in them too. So birds and the other marine life. You're right.
Wow. Well, you're probably wondering why CCA or how CCA is tied in on all this. Well, we've got a solution there. Basically, everyone has heard about our Star Tournament, the summer-long tournament, where it goes from May 24th to September 1st this year in 2025. You can win a brand new boat, all that. All these guys saw it, which
Amazing.
it was awesome. But ultimately, how we're going to do our part is we have introduced a Mylar Division within our Star Tournament. Tony, what do you think?
I think just the Star Tournament in general, when we first started this, we didn't think we were going to do, special categories like this. But to be able to have a category and partner with such great, amazing people, like-minded people, and we all have the same vision in mind, I think is really special for me personally to be a part of. I know you feel the same way, but I think for CCA in general, I think this is just such an amazing, amazing thing that we're able to do. And I'm data driven, right? For those of you that know me. So the ability to be able to extract all this data, I mean, who knows what we'll be able to find and what trends we'll be able to find. And it's just very exciting to think about where we'll be in 6 months from now. All the data that we're able to compile.
Yeah. Well, so basically how it's going to work, and it's really, really important that you do this, where we're already fishing out offshore, inshore, everywhere for this tournament. Pick up a balloon. Once you see it, pick it up, take a picture of it with your measuring device underneath, on top, wherever. And basically it's super important to where you, as long as you take a picture of it, even where you picked it up or closely by or whatnot, that data is important, because every single photo on your phone is geotagged. We can tell where exactly it is. And so, again, driving more data points, which Peter's shaking his head, it's important, right? Basically, it's super, super important. Make sure to dispose of that once you get back to the beach, and then take that survey on the RV Pilar website and really do your part. Basically, how it's going to run is the more entries you gather, the more opportunity you have to win. And our good friends over at Fish Lab in Okuma have donated a $250 gift cert to the winner of that division. So it's going to work just like a
that's
raffle.
awesome.
That's
Great.
amazing.
Thanks
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah.
And
so-
you're doing the right thing.
and you're doing the right thing. It's the right thing to do ultimately. But really, what drives this point is data, and we desperately need that data.
Yeah, and I'd like to say just something about that, the right thing. You know, this is something fishermen can do. Fishermen care about clean oceans. I mean, we have to. Our right to access is always under threat. So this is something positive we can do to show that we're there for conservation and we're there, following the state's limits and the regulations they set. And oh, by the way, we're also picking up trash. That's important. As again, our right to access is under attack. Sometimes I think they'd rather shut everything down and forget about the blue economy we have here, and that includes the local commercial fishermen, the generational fishermen that fish sustainably. They'd shut it down in favor of us to buy fish from the illegal, unregulated fisheries from, I always say, who knows who knows where, who knows when, and who knows how. How is that fish caught? Is any of that even sustainable? But it's much easier, for the politicians just say, no, we'll shut everything down. We'll just buy imported fish from somewhere else. And I think that's a huge issue. That's kind of really what's at the crux of this for us sport fishermen, because we're really just along for the ride. It's going to be the commercial fishermen and the others that are the ones that end up paying the price unless we stick up for these clean oceans, showing that we care. Showing the Native Americans that we care about these resources and we're here to protect them, and we follow conservation. We take what we need, and that's it. Come back another day.
Yeah, and that's a really important point, Jake, to where we, obviously it's been well documented, well said that we're the original conservationists. But ultimately, we also get, as anglers, sometimes not the best limelight just in general, just with what we do. But ultimately, I think, it really goes down to the core, all of our cores, to where we really do care about our resources. We really do care about the environment. We care about things that people are saying out in the general public that's saying that we don't, and that couldn't be farther from the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's such a just thing. It's not like we're doing it because we need the cred. Yeah, we need the cred, but we're doing it because it's a just cause. It's the right thing to do. The same way Surfrider does these massive beach cleanups, and CCA does them as well. And hats off to both you guys, because that's really where a lot of this started. Not everybody's out on the water, but a lot of people walk the beach. A lot of people see the balloons there. So we get a lot of action from those people and a lot of response to our posts on social. From people that are just walking the beach and seeing dead birds attached to, the ribbon on a deflated Mylar balloon. And so it's important either way that we do that, and we show that, this is for the next generation, that this is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
I want to say how excited I am about your star tournament in this special category. I am so excited. So I'm from the San Diego County chapter. We have chapters all up and down the coast. And so I put it into our foundation to the people who oversee other chapters to be ready for data coming up and down the coast. So if there's any other chapters with Surfrider who are kind of working on this in their local cities to not only partner with great people like CCA or a local research vessel, but this data is coming to assist them to help cities stop using this product. Mm-hmm. And so this also has the ability, because it's not just a San Diego problem, we're down here talking about it, but LA, off of San Francisco, up and down our coast. So this data could be the tipping point to take the state to take a look at it, to stop it from happening too. Mm-hmm. It's going to take time, lots of data, but what you guys are doing is making a big difference, trust me.
Yeah, well, data is super, super important. Jake, you said it earlier, to where, we're driven by data nowadays, or just society in general, to where if we get enough of it, or the more the merrier, in my opinion, to be honest.
Absolutely. We're really, really proud and grateful of this partnership we've all come together to form. And, Surfrider is a big company. They can do what they want. They don't really need us, but it's awesome that
we do.
that we get the opportunity to work with them. And again, we're going to make it count. We want to really push this, and there is an opposition to us. There is opposition out there, believe it or not. There is a balloon lobby. So
Surprisingly strong, too.
It
apparently.
will come to a fight. It's always about money. Somebody's making the balloons and selling them, and
It's an oil-based product, so you got the oil industry behind it.
yeah, I mean that should tell you enough right there. I mean, it's awfully hard to compete with, the council for, an oil company. But essentially, that's where we're from. DuPont that makes Mylar. I mean, I'm sure, they're involved. Not just the Hobby Lobby people and the Party City people, stuff like that. It goes beyond that, But somebody asked me that question the other day. There's a balloon lobby, and I said, oh yeah, and then they said, well, then we just need to be bigger than the balloon lobby, and that's kind of what we're trying to do right here.
Yeah, absolutely. If someone is super, super passionate about this issue where they want to not just collect balloons for us for data collection purposes, but they actually want to get involved and putting in time, volunteer, and all that, is there going to be an opportunity for those people to do that?
Sure.
Yeah,
We've got one. They could join our Rise Above Plastic Committee. That's RAP at sandiego.surfrider.org. Hit us with an email and we'll get you involved. Or we have a monthly meeting the third Tuesday of the month at 6 p.m. If you go to the Surfrider San Diego events calendar, you go to that third Tuesday, you will find a link that'll give you the Zoom to join us and talk to us in person about your passion and how you want to help. A couple ways to get involved with us.
Yeah, no, people can get involved with RV Pilar as well. If you go to our website, rvpilar.org, or email us at rvpilarsd@gmail.com. We would love to have your help in any way, shape, or form. It's a big effort, and there's a lot of meetings, and we're trying to get the town councils involved too, to get our local representative to hear us and understand the issue and take it seriously. So, businesses, if they'd like to sponsor us and help, promote what we're doing. A lot of what we're doing right now is education based, and we put a lot on social media as well. If you go to our website or our Instagram, rvpilar_, you can see some of the videos we put out there and get a little more information. We have a longer video on YouTube as well. But yeah, any way people can get involved and want to help, or even, help us create videos and, reach out to some other groups. We'd love any help we can get.
And to stay informed too from the public, because that's a question we get asked all the time is, well, how can we help? And it takes that extra step of looking up where your local city council is meeting. And really that is the first step. If someone really wants to get involved, they would look up when that meeting is, they would attend, and they'd join a couple meetings to see, the process and how it goes down, and make their voice heard.
Yep.
Public opinion matters.
Yeah.
So another way is, again, if you join just Surfrider Foundation San Diego chapter, we put out action alerts to where we will email you when it's coming up to a city council, and to either, can you make it in person, or can you at least send in an email to the council members that you're in support of what we're trying to do. So lots of great ways. And then I was going to say the other thing, besides the land-based people, I've been contacted by whale watching captains, other research vessels, racing boats. There's all sorts of people in various industries that love that ocean for its livelihood, that want this to stop. So if you're one of those people and want to get in, there was years ago, there was Channel 8 News had a whale watching captain, and it was so exciting because he had just seen an 800-pound mola mola, very rare, he said, and the reporter leaned in and said, "Why is it so rare?" He says, "Because the little ones are eating balloons and dying." I actually reached out to him, and it's been years ago.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of industries, I'm sure they'll want to get involved in some way.
Yeah, for sure.
Mark, I had a good question for you because you've been around different cities in SoCal, voicing your opinion, you said 4 or 5 cities have...
4 so far, yeah.
Okay. So, were there any efforts made or recommendations made from those cities that say maybe we need to recycle them in a different way? Were there any efforts that...
So far, recycling hasn't come up. Plastic bags, which are out in the ocean too, and plastic film is one of the hardest things for the recycling industry to do anything with. Most of them don't want it. EDCO, where I'm at, they don't want plastic in anything but the landfill-bound trash. So it's not an easily recyclable product. There is one company I know of called Plastic Beach. If you can get plastic film bags and wrapping or your dry cleaning type cover bag to them, they have a source for it to go to like Trex decking, and they make another 30-year product out of it as a deck material. But typically, that product has to go in the trash. When you find one, trash it. Don't try to recycle it.
So
It's got a coating on it too that you can't separate the plastic from the shiny printed material and the ribbon and all of that. It's trash bound. Please just trash it at this point.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I'm not going to put my tinfoil hat on or anything here for a second, but it's one of those things, it's almost like I question if I'm combing the beach and I find trash or I find a balloon and I want to throw it in the trash. There's always something in the back of my mind that's thinking, like, is this going to be disposed of the way that it needs to be?
Right now.
Is it going to blow away in the
right
wind?
now,
Is something going to happen?
Right now, it's the trash. Landfill covered up, unfortunately. It decomposes in 100 years in that environment.
Yeah, and just to go back to the town council aspect of this, and obviously Surfrider's been doing that, and they're kind of coaching up Peter and me a bit here, and our goal now, and this is relating to what you could do to help. Our goal is to, come in and attend these meetings, get our few minutes to speak, try to get a future time, get more time basically to speak at a future meeting when we can get on the agenda. And so Peter and I have been to the La Jolla Town Council, and we're excited now to get, they want more time. They're giving us 10 minutes. So, that's where it is. It's kind of at that level. If you know anybody, in your community, if you're familiar with the way your local government works, then that would be helpful to us. Sometimes it's helpful to have people in the crowd, when we make our presentation to
Give public comment.
Yeah, just give public comment, just strengthen numbers, just to have some people there, maybe with some balloons or some pictures or wearing a shirt. If they want to speak, great. You can pull a slip, and it just depends on how much time they have. We're trying to really condense our message, our videos, our presentation. We want it to be as slick as it can be, and as informative as it can be. And like I was saying earlier, it's kind of an interesting topic. It's that's at least what I've seen from the local politicians. They're really curious about it. It's not the guy in the the tin hat that calls in and is there at every meeting and he's arguing about something you don't even know what it is. You're going, wow, this is tough being a council person, because they hear a lot of the same things over and over again every week. So something new, something different, but something that affects their community, their district. It's important, and these bans that Surfriders helped put in place, they don't really do anything unless the neighboring communities do the same thing, because a balloon could be released in San Diego County and drift into a county and over to Coronado where the balloons aren't on and cause problems there. So, we have to kind of unify that effort and make it bigger. And, again, why I'm grateful that we have this relationship is with CCA now and Surfrider. We were just looking at San Diego County, on the Pilar. We didn't have, the big picture. We kind of came in the middle and, had some issues kind of trying to raise awareness. We did it, but we kind of got stymied. So we've come back in at the bottom now. Surfrider kind of came in at the top, and now we're kind of looking at it all as maybe going back to the beginning, re-educating everyone, getting this data, and going through these town councils and going through the process just to be able to get time, through a representative, through our council person, to go to the city council. You know?
Yeah, and that was a thing that I was going to talk about, to where it could potentially snowball to where if someone in their own local community, that it may not be on the coast where our targets are, but it could be inland, it could be up north in California or whatnot, to where if they feel passionate enough and they want to go to their own city council, they can do that, and I'm sure use all of us as resources to do that.
Absolutely. And who's not to say that Central California doesn't have a bigger problem, or Northern California, right? I mean, it kind of depends on the jet stream. It kind of depends on ocean currents. There's a lot of factors in play there. Where do these balloons collect? That's, again, kind of part of the data side. We have no idea. We know about Southern California and what all our friends report, and the sport boat captains and the whale watchers and everybody that's out there on a daily basis. But, you know, north of the Bight, we really don't know anything about, you know, the Central Coast and you know, the Northern Coast. Maybe they get more up there. Who knows?
I'm going to say it is our goal to get all 18 cities in San Diego County to enact an ordinance, and then the unincorporated area of our east portion of our county. And so if there are people out there that live in those areas, and that's important when we go to a city and speak, that their constituents, the people who vote for them, are also in the audience with us. And then also the young people, their voice is amazing. It's very loud, louder than adult voices many times. So if you're a young person and want to get involved in this too, we'd love to have you. And then there are other agencies who've signed on with us, the Sierra Club, Coast Keepers, Wild Coast, San Diego Bird. They changed their name.
Gold Audubon Society.
Audubon.
Yes, and others. We have a research person out at UC Irvine in Borrego Springs who's part of our group. The Desert to Tortoise Societies, various ones out in the East County are also in support of our work. So it's kind of slow because of bandwidth, coastal data.
Right.
But we're going to be heading east, and then anybody who's listening who's up in Middle or Northern California, you can reach out to Surfrider. Again, if you have that wrap, I would be more than happy to help them figure out how you navigate through a city council to be heard and hopefully have them take action, or at least put you in touch with an agency that's up there as a nonprofit who can help you, another Surfrider chapter if you're on the coast perhaps. So
Excellent. So next steps. Ultimately, you know, obviously we want people to start collecting that data for us, trying to take that survey on the RV Pilar website, and also register for the Star Tournament so you're eligible for that Mylar Division and all that. Hopefully I'm not missing anything, but please chime in if I am. But ultimately, we've got some really great momentum between the three groups, and it's going to be a productive summer. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm
Sure is.
excited. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good summer too. I think things are lining up. The weather's going to be good, and it'll be a awesome Southern California
strength
summer.
in numbers and some great partners here.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. Jake, before I can't let you go without hearing what's been going on down south fishing wise, and what kind of fishing you've been doing lately.
Well, I'll tell you, we've you know, kind of just still cooling off after the Bisbees. You know, we got third place in the Black and Blue this year, just our
Nice.
second year participating. So we were still kind of riding that way. Believe it or not, I got the giant check up on my mantle like
Heck
every
yeah.
day. And you
Why
know,
didn't you bring it, man?
I couldn't fit it in the door. Yeah, you know, we just had such a great year down there. I've got a great crew, and you know, we love fishing the winter down there, and the off season is a little more tricky, a little more difficult. But you know, everything from making your own bait to finding the blue water and figuring out if you should go fish the bottom or if there's any, you know, pelagic fish around. It's just such a great resource down there. And again, that's one of the reasons I care about all this up here is you know, wherever we are, I've carried the balloon theme down there with my crew, and we don't go buy a balloon without picking it up, and that's the local Mexican guys doing that. So you know, that makes me feel good when you know, we've kind of spread it all the way down there. But yeah, to answer your question, I mean, yesterday we were catching. I just came up. We were catching tuna, wahoo, and marlin, all in one area, 25 miles off the beach, and that's slow fishing.
I don't know what to say. That's awesome.
Can I go?
Yeah.
That's what you want
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah.
Take me with you.
One last thing for Peter. you've built an amazing platform on content alone, Instagram, YouTube, and all that. There are so many different resources that people can just go back into your feed and just, videos that they can watch and really learn more about Mylar Balloons and, all the other good stuff that you guys are doing.
Yeah, no, social media has been really great for us just to, get the word out there and, try to get more involvement and other people picking up and posting what they're seeing. But yeah, we've had, one video reach 1 million people. We've had a couple go over 100,000 on TikTok. Same. We've had 100,000 view. And so there's definitely an interest within the Mylar issue. Even if people think it's small, people are paying attention to it, and it's bigger than we think. And even if you just type in Mylar balloons, like the main thing you'll see is fishermen and people on the water picking them up more so than any other aspect. The other thing you'll see is people designing with Mylar balloons, so you kind of see where the push comes back a little bit. But your decoration should not be causing power outages or killing marine life and causing an impact to thousands and millions of people on many different scales, and then the microplastics. So it's the argument that it's a good celebration thing to have at your party is not really a great argument. And yeah, social's been an amazing way to reach people and kind of get other people involved. We've had a young girl who she wasn't living on the coast, but she was seeing them in her lake and rivers nearby. I forget, I think it was Washington area, but
Virginia,
okay. But she got involved and was sending us pictures, and we sent her a shirt, and she was super stoked to get involved and just to help in any way. But yeah, you'll see the issue on the East Coast too. There's a lot of boat captains out there that are creating posts and documenting it and trying to get people involved too. So it's definitely beyond just California for sure, and it's really cool to see it happen. And we like to take a little bit of credit for that, trying to get get the word out there and to showcase it, especially to the ocean fishing community. Yeah, socials.
I can really tell that you're very passionate about this issue.
And, yeah, it's before I started helping Jake, I didn't see the issue as big of a deal, and then you get out on the water and you start seeing them. We were 10 miles out there and you're seeing a Mylar balloon floating around, and you're like, nobody's seen this. When was the last time this balloon was ever seen? And just seeing other videos, like Seal Society posted something recently where there was a seal tangled up at La Jolla Cove, and someone captured a video of it. But it's beyond what people understand or what they even see or what they know, because you just see this thin piece of plastic that has a little color on the beach, and you're like, oh, that sucks. But it's huge. It's a massive issue.
It's every holiday too. You can tell.
Yeah.
Mother's Day. There's a bunch of hearts.
Yeah.
Valentine's Day,
heart, same thing. And then you can almost plan it by the holidays of how many balloons you're going to find.
New Year's.
You get the congratulations for graduation. Exactly.
Get well.
Yeah, the happy birthday.
It's somebody's birthday every day of the year. So
Yeah.
And you figure every single holiday, it's just adding, double to whatever was out there. And like graduations, I remember I was at Point Loma, my sister was graduating, and everybody had a Mylar balloon. There must have been 200 there at least, and it was a smaller graduating class too. And I was just like, oh my gosh, there's
Don't let them go.
And right at Point Loma too. I'm like, yeah, it's and you'll see them floating around. If you're looking at all, you're gonna see them. Seen them riding down the bike path, just tangled up in palm trees, and and if you do any research on your own about the electrical issue, you'll find a bunch of videos. Anaheim has a lot of great video content, and they've done a lot to expose it. SDG&E was doing it for a long time, and I feel like they've kind of petered out on it. And but yeah, you'll see more electrical issues than you ever thought would have happened. But yeah, go to our Instagram. We just posted something short, just kind of showcasing all the main issues, and we have a couple transformers exploding that people are capturing. So it's beyond. And if one of those Mylars goes into a big electrical facility, it's like that could be millions of people without power and businesses losing money and fires. Yeah, the fire issue is massive. So yeah.
So I piggyback on two things Peter said.
Of course.
Yeah.
And one is the first ordinance that we looked at to bring to the city of Encinitas was from Nantucket. on the East Coast, well-written ordinance. So it's happening up and down both coasts. I don't know if this is going to reach the East Coast, but find a Surfrider chapter along
Never
the coast if you want help. And then alternatives. If you go to balloonsblow.org, that's a nonprofit, it's pages of the dangers of balloons and the pictures of animals in distress and the use of helium for research in cancer and MRIs versus balloons. It's also got a big bunch of pages on alternatives, things that you can do that still celebrate any occasion, a birth to a passing. And some of them still, we're not trying to get rid of the balloon itself, it's just the content it's filled with. So having a balloon that's on a stick or one that's tied to a tether is just going to dangle. If any of these hit the ground, a person can walk to it and get it in that brief moment when a lighter than air one goes out of your hand. You can't jump high enough, fast enough to retrieve it. So balloon arches, so there's all balloon columns around things. So the industry still has an out to use them, but just not in the fashion that's harming it. Here again, the recyclability, we prefer it not being a product that's out there, but there's ways to plant a tree for a loved one or all sorts of different things, a flower garden to celebrate. So I recommend people go to balloonsblow.org, educate yourself on the reasons why and the answers, the alternatives that are out there for people to still have a good time and celebrate things.
Excellent. Well, Mark, we'll start with you. How do people get involved and contact you and all that good stuff?
Yeah, again, the easiest one is through Riseborough Plastic Committee, and that's RAP@sandiego.surfrider.org. That email will come to me or one of us in the Riseborough Plastic, and just let us know what you're thinking about with balloons, and we'll get working together on it.
Excellent. Peter, Jake,
You can go
how about you guys?
So yeah, if you want to get in touch with us, website's always good, rvpilar.org, or reach out to us via email, rvpilarsd@gmail, or reach out to us on social media. It's just rvpilar_. Any way you can get in contact or help would be massive. So.
Excellent.
Same here.
Well, guys, I am super excited for the summer. It's going to be very productive. I think it's the right thing to do. It's a good thing to do for the environment. And again, super excited, super stoked.
No, thank you guys.
Thank
Your
you.
help
Me
is
too.
huge.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to do it for this edition of the CCA California podcast. Make sure to go to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Also, subscribe to us on YouTube at CCA California. With that, we will see you guys next week. Take care.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Did you take a picture of us?
I'll get one right here.